Well, today, police arrested a man living in California on suspicion of sending weapons to North Korea. A newly unsealed criminal complaint that we brought you right here breaking on CBS News 24/7 reveals quite a story, quite a plot here. A Chinese man hid guns and ammunition inside shipping containers, traveled from Texas to California, shipped them off of the shores of Long Beach to North Korea. That document goes on to say that North Korean agents funneled the man some $2 million to buy and then ship the weapons and other technology, including reported uniforms that were, I guess, planning to be used in an attack in South Korea. Federal law enforcement officials are calling this a significant national security investigation. Let's listen in.
We're here today gathered with our law enforcement partners to announce federal charges involving an individual who acted as an operative for the North Korean government in our country. We are charging a criminal scheme involving this individual and officials with the North Korean government. This criminal scheme involved obtaining, in our country, military supplies and high-grade technology and then sending those materials illegally to North Korea. The person that we've charged is an individual named Shenghua Wen. He was arrested this morning. We allege that he conspired with government officials in North Korea to obtain military supplies, including firearms and ammunition, to obtain technology, and then conceal that technology and those materials in shipping containers that departed from the port of Long Beach, and then ship those materials on to North Korea. All of this was illegal.
So much to cover here. CBS News Justice Department reporter Robert Legare joins us live. Robert, what more can you tell us about what law enforcement uncovered here?
Hey, yeah, Reed, thanks for having me. Well, it's important to note at the top here that according to the criminal complaint, when the defendant who prosecutors were just talking about there admitted to this conduct in multiple interviews across the summer, both in August and September, in a Mirandized interview with federal investigators, admitted to a lot of this conduct. He said he tried to obtain military uniforms in an apparent attempt to help North Korean soldiers disguise themselves in what prosecutors described as a quote, surprise attack on South Korea that never materialized. But according to prosecutors, Wen sought to obtain these uniforms in furtherance of that plot. According to prosecutors, Wen came to this country in 2012 on a student visa, overstayed that visa. But before he got here, they said he met twice with North Korean government officials, and they directed him to, during his time here, obtain and procure materials for North Korea in an attempt to then send the materials to North Korea. Prosecutors said that investigators, when they searched Wen's home, found multiple rounds of ammunition as well as some devices, a device used to uncover bugs in your home, listening bugs in your home or an office, and as well as a chemical detector. And so what they described here is a years-long scheme by Wen to allegedly funnel material in furtherance of North Korea's regime.
Yeah, when you really think about this, it's pretty crazy. I listen to the same thing you listen to. Firearms, ammunition, high-grade technology, the chemical detection device, the surveillance device that you mentioned, but also this was quite chilling, thermal imaging systems that were designed to be able to attach to planes. Talk to us about the place where this operation was set up, the state of Texas, because the headline's going to be Long Beach, California. That was the point of shipping, but this has some derivations in the state of Texas as well.
Yeah, so this is an operation that allegedly spanned across the country. In some instances, the weapons and materials were bought in Texas, and then he allegedly brought them then to California to then ship them off. And so prosecutors say that this has lasted a long time. And Wen was discussing what was needed by the North Korean government with his handlers in North Korea. And so this was not just someone who was thinking about what the North Korean government might want. He was being directed allegedly by officials in North Korea to send the materials from Long Beach to Hong Kong and then smuggle them from Hong Kong into North Korea. And so this is a transnational scheme that prosecutors allege spanned multiple years.
And that Texas business purchased with North Korean money. But also interesting to note, these weapons were purchased under a federal firearms license. What kind of drill down will investigators do knowing that these weapons were obtained under a federal license?
Right. So, federal law dictates that in certain instances, firearms have to be purchased under a FFL, a federal firearm license. And so in certain instances here, those firearms were and the ammunition were purchased with that. And so the questions will also be raised as to how he was able to obtain that. We see in certain instances in which foreign nationals are able to obtain foreign nationals are able to obtain firearms, then prompts further investigation as to how they did that. And so, to your point, that is something that investigators are going to look into as well. This isn't the first time that we've seen individuals within the U.S. work on behalf of the North Korean government. Just earlier this year in May, prosecutors with the Justice Department charged a woman in Arizona with working with North Korean IT workers to get them remote jobs here in the U.S. to then funnel their money to benefit the North Korean government. And so this is something that's happening across the country, and prosecutors are looking into it.
Now, expanding this conversation out from what we see running from Texas into California and then off the shores headed towards North Korea in those shipping containers, does this raise larger concerns about the U.S. and its involvement on the Korean Peninsula and sort of having eyes and ears up even larger than we have in the past to what North Korea is doing?
Well, what's really interesting here is that this is a North Korean government looking to obtain American-made goods, and so as the viewers likely know, right now it is illegal to ship things in support of North Korea, materials, weapons, money. So what we see here is another scheme to support North Korea in that way. And so this is really the federal government and particularly federal investigators, law enforcement components here in the U.S. saying that they are aware of these operations and they're taking them seriously. The geopolitical ramifications of this are likely not to be huge, given the fact that this is one individual right now here in the U.S. who allegedly took part in this. But it is a signal that the U.S. government and federal investigators are sending to North Korea saying, we know you have agents operating here on U.S. soil, and we're going to do something about it.
All right. Robert Legare, CBS News Justice Department reporter. Fascinating conversation and a story that reads like a Hollywood movie, although it is all too real. And now the feds have the charges to prove it.